What's up, everybody? My name is KSaun. Welcome back to the WDL Season 2. If you haven't watched already, I have uploaded a video for the Heinler Division draft for our WDL. I also uploaded a video going over the rules, but basically we have 20 teams this year, 10 teams in each division. Each division will play each other and have their own draft, so it's kind of like two leagues at the same time. But the top teams from each division are going to make the playoffs and fight against each other. Should be a great time. But regardless, I already uploaded a video on the Heinler draft with SurfTaco and Turambar as my guests. I have them along with me again today. It's going to be a great time. We're going to go over and discuss the draft and all that stuff. Go get some coffee or some popcorn, whatever you want, and stay tuned. Should be a good discussion. Let's get into it. All right. So now for the Rundall division draft. So we got a whole new draft to break down. This should be fun. First round, any picks that stand out to you guys?
Well, I'll talk about Cop stealing my Naya right before my turn.
Then you wouldn't have gotten your Perrine, though.
Well, I feel like I would have gotten her for my
would.
second pick. But yeah, I'm happy with my Perrine pick. Looking forward to her getting Dream upgraded, getting her card next week. She's at 115, hopefully ready for Showtime this first pick. This first match. As far as other notable, I was kind of interested to see Sorrow come out right out the gate, third pick of the whole draft. But I think he's worth it. What do you think, Turambar?
Yeah, that's one that really piqued my eye. Sorrow at number 3. I think in the Handler's draft, he also went on the first round, but towards the end of it. And he certainly is a strong unit. I think that Storm Reborn there might have been looking to pair him with, Vildira, Valentine's Day, Vildira or something like that. But definitely surprising to see him go so early. Even in my draft, I thought he went too early.
Speaking of going early, I didn't even notice this elephant in the room, Delita.
Delita, exactly. At 70 cost, right? At 70 cost, he seems... he's strong. Like, I've seen him do serious damage. His upgrade, was really, really good and certainly made him able to be played, right? Which he wasn't a thing before. I don't know if it's a first round worth it.
He's definitely good value at 70, but first round is, we'll see. Time will tell.
It's a high bar for a first round of a draft. And the thing that did pick my eye was the number of 100 cost units being picked up in the first round. It's 5, right? 5
yeah.
100 costs are in the first round, which was definitely not a thing in our draft. In our draft, I think they slipped up all to Dr. Dickhead in the first 5 rounds.
Yeah.
And here we see everybody is kind of like grabbing them really early. I'm not surprised about Glassy, of course. We talked about her. She's broken. And Ashley certainly, I'm not surprised to see him go early. But I've said what I said about Velis. I think he's obviously one of the best units in the game, but 100 cost support is tough to make work. And then Little Bold, definitely strong. But I see, I don't know what were you thinking there, KSaun, with Little Bold at 100 cost? Were you just thinking about your 1-2 turn over there at the end of the round?
Yeah, so I guess before I go into my picks, 2 quick things. I think Sorrow's really solid for 90, so I'm not too shocked there. And then the Corpse Brigade, we have to remember, is coached by Willie Goats. This dude called his shot before the draft even started. I'm pretty sure he said to everybody he will take the leader round 1 before it happens. So he's a man of his word. He's a big Final Fantasy Tactics fan. Ygraph, however you pronounce it or whatever, is his boy. That's his favorite guy. Unfortunately, he's not in this game.
Talking about,
I think most of us thought he was kidding.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He's a man of his word, so I respect it either way.
There you go.
With my strategy here, having the last pick, I think, is really, really nice. I think it gives you an advantage. However, it is kind of scary. I'm sure, Turambar, you remember this from last season, but it's spooky knowing that you have to go 20 picks without getting another one. So, trying to commit to something in a specific way can be I don't know what's going to go in the next 20 picks. It's very different from a fantasy football draft where you have a mock list. Right? I don't know what the rankings are of these units. I have in my mind who I think is good, but I don't know who the hell is going to make it back. So my account...
I think that's really interesting, right?
Yeah.
Well, but
'Cause
let's note
we
that
don't have an average draft position like we do in fantasy football. Like there's no consensus.
Right.
We'll have our own rankings.
Yep. Which it makes it very fascinating, I think. So my thought process here was I wanted to do one of two things. I either wanted to take two units that just paired well, like really well together. I could have done something like one thought in my head was if Astrius and Celeste both made it, I thought about taking those two together. I also thought about doing something like Skahal and like Resnick or something like that. But ultimately, with 400s already going off the board and knowing my account, a lot of the new like good units, I just don't have a lot of them. And Little Elo the Bold is one that I do have. And I felt like having a strong 100 cost dark unit, just like at a minimum, like one really solid unit, no matter what. And then with my second pick, which I don't know if you guys want to go to the next round, but
yeah, dive right into it.
Basically grabbing a low cost, like a 30 cost that can fit in almost every single comp that I have. So basically I tried to grab what I think is probably the strongest unit I have on my account, which is Little Ela, and then a unit that I'm probably not going to build water. And I do think Severo's pretty good for 30. So basically it was just like one flex pick and one really strong unit, and then I'll figure out the rest as I go.
Gotcha. Makes sense, I think. And I think SurfTaco, you can talk a little bit more about being the 10th pick, right? Like you were the 10th pick last season. And I know that from a first pick perspective, which I had, I was at the turn, and it was, it was fascinating to see because, like you said, there's 20 picks before you pick again. But also with my very first pick on the first round, I had no clue what to do. So I ended up defaulting to what I thought was the best unit in the game, which, to be fair, it was just not in the cost format that it worked. But with the 10th pick, I see, you do have a little bit of insight because everybody had already gone through their first pick. So you can take a little bit of a pick as to what their strategies are. Obviously, one pick is not enough. But I don't know, SurfTaco, do you have anything to say there about being on the 10th pick?
About season 1. I mean, I certainly appreciated that ability to just pick two at one go, and it just definitely allows you to kind of have a power move, pick two units, as KSaun was saying, that pair well together or that just fit well together cost wise. And I guess with my second pick here, I was basically trying to mirror what I did first season. Kind of seemed to work. Was get a strong 100 carry unit. We'll see if Perrine is that, and then get a 40 cost that'll kind of pair with that and open up some windows for matching. And so obviously my girl Naya is no longer 40, so I went with Little Leela this time as a tank. And so, I saw her last season. Who had her last season? She was pretty impressive magic tank, and she can take a hit or two.
That was Jebba, I think, actually.
Yeah, it was Jebba. Yeah.
And I'm excited to kind of try and fit her to use the silence spell with a ridiculous high chance of hitting, unless there's any res. And that was kind of what I was going for. I knew I wanted to get a low pick early on. Naya was my first choice, but she was taken first round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So any thoughts about Mia? Because spoiler alert. But I mean, either she goes really late. I didn't really.
No,
see
she
her.
never
did
got
not
picked.
get
And
picked. This is
She
the
did
biggest
not,
difference.
did not get picked. Any thoughts about her?
I was thinking about her the entire time. Like just get her, then I can get my 200s together or 190. But I mean, it's the end of the day, just like what, other than holding a VC card and maybe doing Steel Heart, what is that girl doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me, being in a unique spot at the turn, I think it's a lot easier to take a unit like Mia than somebody in the middle of the round. Because, like, if I was going to take Mia, though, in the first turn, I probably wouldn't have taken 100 costs. I probably would have taken something else. Because I would have wanted my turn 3-4 to pick two 100s that go really well together. Because if I do something like Little Ela the Bold, I mean, 2020 hindsight, right? But like if I do something like Little Ela the Bold and Mia, and then like Dark Fina goes, and Runestern goes, and like the units I might want to pair up with her, I'm like, well, shoot. I'm like, does this Mia do much for me? And And ultimately, I know my account, I just don't feel like I have enough power picks in the 100 cost, which is, again, another reason why I wanted to grab Leela, so I at least secured something that I felt was good there. That I was like, I don't know if Mia's it for me.
I hear you. And that's a huge limitation too. Like, you know, when you're talking fantasy football or any other type of draft, you know, everybody has access to the same pool of things, right? Here, all of our accounts are different. Like, I don't know how well developed any of these players' accounts are.
Right.
So you just might be limited by that, and you might have a strategy. And if that takes, you know, if there's a few picks that don't go your way, you might be in trouble early on. So I like the flex picks over here. Now Severo though, I've looked at Severo several times.
Yep.
He looks like a good 30 cost unit. I mean, he does have some really strong skills. He doesn't look like a support to me though. Like, what do you think you're going to be using Severo for?
Sure. So full disclosure, I've never used Severo before this. I was just looking at the 30 cost units on paper, and I was like, I feel like him being able to, well, a lot of those low tier units, agility is kind of crap, right? So his agility, like, even if it's low, his big like 120 skill gives him haste, and it also gives him courage and like cast time down. So I was like, okay, well, with one turn buff, at least like he's probably not going to be moving like slow as molasses if he gets his haste off it at a minimum. I was like, he can live a hit, like guaranteed. And his Waterga range is just kind of insane. And it drops bravery by a good amount. I don't remember if it's like 40. 30. Yeah, 40. That's like
40.
That's a pretty massive damage reduction against like physical teams. So
don't forget he's got jamming thrusts. And he also has Toad.
And he has like, I was gonna say Toad or Sleep or like these other stats effects where if he can't hit evasion or something, he could always just like try and bust that out to hit somebody. I don't know. I just, on paper, I knew I wanted a really low cost, so that no matter what, if I wanted to pair two other units, I could do that. And I don't know. He looked spicy at 30, so I just went for it.
No, having the haste and the courage is huge, obviously, and then you can TMR him however you want. I'm excited to see how you use him.
Yeah, should be interesting.
What about that Surges over there in the second round? Surges, another 30 cost unit, another utility pick. I honestly have to confess, I don't think I've ever seen his kit. I know he's a Pierce type unit.
Yep.
But not more than that. Do you all know about him?
I really don't. I remember trying to look at some of these units last season around like the like supplemental drafts, I think, to see like, hey, is there any unit like really low cost that I could somehow just make into like a sort of tank, like by giving them hate and like maybe they don't die for a few hits. But I really don't know much about Surges. This surprised me that it was a little early, but I totally understand getting the 30 cost right away. Like I said, that was my strat too.
He's got Sub Paladin, Taunting Blade. Imagine if you give him the Ice Spear, he can do some damage.
Yeah.
Got 100% hit chance.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's just not that many 30 costs in our format. I think there is like, I don't know, 5 or less. And then 220 costs. So yeah, if you are thinking about pairing two, 190 for the 30 cost, you do need to grab them early. So I can understand why.
Any other picks that we want to go over here? First, I will shout out real quick is Sandrooster, Bohemian Rhapsody grabbing Jaden, because he was the player who grabbed Zazan in the first round. So obviously going for a tier 1 100 cost right away after that.
Okay, his next pick makes that very scary.
Yep. And before we go to that, I just want to shout out that Cop Gnostics is the one that grabbed Starlight Elena, and then he's probably the scariest light player that I've ever faced. He's nasty.
You know that Starlight Elena is going to be as 80 as it gets.
And then look at Rooster. He picks up the other Jaden, so he can now run double Jaden Zazan.
Yep.
Sylvie, I would have picked her for my next pick.
Just having Zazan as a disruptor while those two with insane range sitting in the back, just killing them before they get to him. I feel like on some maps is almost going to be impossible to win against. Like if it's a real short map, I don't know. Maybe it won't be very, very good, but we'll see. I don't want to
Little
face
Leo,
it.
time to
J.
shine.
Double JD's
Yep.
design is it's gonna be tough to beat if you're not the Celis player. It's gonna be rough.
And they have like missile pen too, because I was like, you know, you get your boy Titus, stack some missile res, but they're still gonna hit him.
Yeah, they do. I think Jaden, has some innate, like really, really high missile penetration.
Mm-hmm.
And summer version has that VC that gives him a base of 35. So
Yep.
yeah, they're not easy to tank.
So yeah, for this round 3, you just see a wide range of, you know, some 100 costers all the way down to 30. Everyone's just kind of grabbing what they think they need.
Yep.
Nothing really jumps out of the ordinary. Yeah, I like the unit pick, the Skahal pick on Cop to match with his Starlight Elena. I like to see Liarte come out there as a 30 coster. I think she's pretty good for a 30 coster.
Yeah, full disclosure, if it made it to me, I was 100% taking Skahal. I very much thought about taking it out on the first turn, but yeah, obviously went against it. But he was gone if he made it to me. I was pretty sad, but no worries.
Yeah, by the end of this season, we might regret leaving Skahal at 90 cost and not 100.
Mm-hmm. It's very possible.
He's a monster, and paired up with a healer, especially. Yeah, it's gonna be tough to beat. From here, I think Aerith from our boy SurfTaco. I love that pick. Obviously, I got her really late, so I don't know if you could have waited on her. But I just think that she's so good, especially with Dream Enhancement looming in the horizon there in mid-March. I think that's a really good pick.
Yeah, with my team name, you can see what I'm doubling down on.
Yeah.
I just thought Aerith would be a great little pair with Perrine, giving her re-raise, giving her haste, magic shield, depending on the matchup. And
exactly.
just sending her off to fist people.
Yeah. One thing that I'd be curious to do after we're all done with this, I haven't done this yet, so maybe I'll try and come up with it and show it in one of the maybe the week 1 video or something. But doing an analysis of comparing the draft picks of the 2 drafts to see, like, did one team get supposed like value compared, you know what I'm saying? Like, so maybe their picks were on average drafted 2-3 rounds later than the other draft. I'd be very curious to see what that looks like. But
I guess doesn't that presume that somebody didn't jump the gun,
right,
with a unit and pick it way too early?
It's very possible. I'm just kind of curious to see what that looks like, so I might just dig into that later. But
no, it would be, it's for sure it'd be interesting.
Some kind of metric to kind of like look at your unit and their draft position versus how much you used it.
Yeah.
And how much success you got with it at the end of the season. You know, that would be interesting to see, right? Like my Velas would have been horrendous last season, while my Joker, I think that I picked on, I don't know, around 5 or 6 would have been great. So I'm curious to see how that works out. Because, I mean, yeah, those deals at the end of the draft, if you plan things the right way, they're probably going to win you the season here.
Speaking of which, as I move forward to round 4, unless you guys have something else to say, but was Joker even taken in the Heinler draft? Am I forgetting somebody has him?
He wasn't.
That's insane to me. Like, he was so good last season. That's another pick where, for me personally, I don't have Joker, which feels really bad because I 100% would have taken him here. Already having Severo like lined up, I would have taken Joker to have Lilo Joker Severo, and I feel like that would have felt really nice, but I don't have him, unfortunately, so I can't. So with my turn here, I basically just went with what I thought was value. I was like, these next few rounds, if I don't have 2 that I think work perfectly together, I'm going to go value. And I thought Unit at 70, at Shadow Links at 50, both, in my head, like, are good values. So I went for them. And then technically, if I want, could use all 3 together as a team with Bleela, Shadow Links, Yuna. So that was just kind of my strat.
Shadow Links was my next pick.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
So I ended up just going with, the value tank of Whisper. Honestly, I don't have much experience with Whisper. I hope she's not trash, but we'll see. I think she actually went higher than I think she was like round 2 or round 3 in your draft, Turambar.
She was, and I think people was watching last season. Jesus did a little work with Whisper. and she got her upgrades. She can definitely tank things. Obviously not as effective as the more modern tanks. But with a flexible kit, you can make her tank pretty much anything.
Mhm.
And with the latest upgrades to the night job, she does have high penetration, so she can dish out some damage, especially if you pair her with other, a big time slasher on dark, especially. But
But what she seems to really lack is like any great offensive skill. Correct me if I'm wrong. I suppose protection break. I guess she's just kind of trying to
that's
lay
it.
up assists and just kind of But she doesn't do anything that adds any status effects like Agrius or does any sort of real type of damage. Yeah, I guess Quadra break. Yeah, Quadra breaks. She's just kind of
She's
just
an enabler.
yeah.
She's a tank enabler. She's definitely not going to dish out damage at the level of like a snow, or status effects like Agrius, like you mentioned. But she does enables you, and if the turn order is set up the right way, your next hit is gonna hurt. Especially, Jesus had bold Leela last season, and those two together, plus I think the third was Gafgarian,
Yeah.
synced perfectly, right? So you could get really, really strong hits out of those with the enabling options from Whisper and her hate. But
I'm
yeah,
hoping Whisper enables my Shadowlinks on Ice.
yeah, we'll see. That's spoiler alert. Spoiler.
So yeah, on this round 4, we've got Slime coming out. I think he was like first round
That's
for you.
a value
Was
pick.
Turambar, was he your first pick?
I love that pick.
Yep.
No bias. Yeah, that was my first round pick. Honestly, like I mentioned before, Slime at 50. I looked at all the 50s. Slime is the best 50.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah, he's a stud. At 20, he's ridiculous. Obviously, he should be banned for all class matches forever and ever. At 50, he is still great, and I'm glad to see him go early, if not as early as he goes, as he went with me. The other one that I liked here was Glaciella. She was great for you, SurfTaco, last season.
She was my last pick last season.
Yeah, yeah. So the value is not here this time around at round 4. That's pretty early. But I think people are starting to get wise on Glaciella. She's strong.
And she gets Dream pretty soon, right?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty powerful. I looked at it.
Her stunning thrust becomes guaranteed hit. And I've always loved her. I mean, you can get her crazy slash resistance. She's ridiculously fast, and she does great damage.
Yeah,
absolutely.
She's good. I think the Whisper pick is really solid. I also think Engelbert is really solid. I just think like a 70 cost tank seems to... I mean, the 70 cost units in general just feel so much more flexible than 80, personally. I don't know, like being able to go 170, 50, or getting that 70 cost tank early is nice, because if you get a 70 and an 80 of another element that meshes really well, I feel like you can form a full UR team that's pretty strong. But yeah, the Slime pick is probably the MVP pick this week, or this round. Slime's a stud.
70 costs are really, really important in our 220 format. Like they just are. And this time around, we had a lot more than they were available last season.
Yep.
But there's still tiers within them, and I think Engelbert is near the top.
I agree.
So.
Yeah, if I wasn't kind of sticking with a dark theme, I would have picked that boy up.
Any other picks?
You got
no, go ahead.
Shout out Corpse Brigade, sticking with the FFT theme, getting Ramza.
I said this in our Discord chat, but I want to say just props to Willie for staying true to who he is, because not to show his whole team, but he went basically Final Fantasy Tactics plus Dark, and that's like all that guy is. So I love it. It's
Ramza slaps. Amazing. I used him in my recent CM, and his shout to give magic and attack 60% and protect, and then his second buff is ridiculous.
Crazy buff.
That might be
a huge range.
That might be one of the best buffs.
Well, actually, Glaciella has I think the best buff in the game.
No, but this one is AoE. Like
Fair enough. Fair
Glacial
enough.
Ace, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Glacial Ace buff, single target buff is insane. It gives her like, I don't know, 6 different things. But Ramses buff, like the shout, is like a diamond AoE.
Yeah, it gives
and
everybody
yeah, it's
protect
insane.
and 60% attack and magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cloud pick here too from Cop already having Skahal, I think that's solid. The only thing I will say about that is I'm curious how he runs it with like the hate and stuff. If he runs like Cloud hate down or something, because Cloud can stack crazy AoE resist, but he's not very tanky if he's targeted by himself. But then again, if they're putting everything on Cloud, then you just allow Skahal to Thundaga twice and the game's over. So I don't know.
There's always reflex.
True. There's always reflex. All right, round number 5.
Surprised to see the Mashri Winter coming out.
I love it though. That's awesome. Every single pick like this that comes out, I just get so excited because it's a different unit that we didn't see last season. So, in my opinion, steal of the draft here. I couldn't believe Aliyah was still sitting there in round 5. Another pick where had I had her built, I would have picked her early. I actually do have her on the account. Maybe next season I could be able to pick her, but yeah, not right now. She's 89 or something. So.
I'm surprised about Shadow Link So Nice, picked by my friend here.
Yeah, tell us about it, man.
Explain yourself.
Well, oh man, this was a this is a pick that I'm starting to regret.
Everybody's got one pick.
Yeah, if you look at my season 1, I am a sucker for pokey girls, and I love Pierce. I love my waifus. And I don't even know how I got Shadow Lynx. I think I just kind of YOLO lucked into her. I was certainly not like excited and pitied her or anything like that. And I think I just saw, this is my 5th pick. Before this, I guess I had Whisper, Little Leela, and I was just kind of thinking I'm kind of like meshed into dark now. And I don't know why it made sense at the time. Maybe I was drunk. I don't remember. But I'm gonna try to make it work. She's she can make her fast. She's got some like CT up if she kills anybody with her big AoE attack. We'll see. We'll see what I can do with Shadow Links on Ice. It's certainly something I could have. I regret not picking Miranda right here at 70 and saving Shadow Links, if at all, for later.
Yeah, she went undrafted in our
Yep.
in our draft.
You guys are just missing out. He's gonna show you.
I built her. I built her. I didn't beat her, but I'm mostly dark main in my account, so I pulled her, and she just doesn't feel like a 100 cost worth of a DPS unit, like in a modern sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her limit break certainly is great, but it does have some range issues on it. And yeah, I'm curious to see how you're gonna make it work. I mean, I love her. I mean, she is really cool on paper, but in practice, it has been a little bit tough for me to make it work. So I'm excited to see you succeed with her and prove me wrong.
No, we'll see. You can get her to basically nullify missile.
Yes. Yes,
and
you
so,
can. Mm-hmm.
And so, listen, I'll see what I can do with her.
I love your lightning pick, obviously, KSaun.
Thank you. I was so excited to get her at the end of the 5th. Obviously, I'll show who I pair up with it in the 6th round here. Kind of the first time I picked 2 units that very specifically go together. My turn 3-4 kind of can go together, but few shoutouts here. Cyrell, I think, is a really solid value at 50, especially considering he's got Summer Jaden and Engelbert, so he could run. I mean, he could run regular Jaden Engelbert too, to be fair, but he's got one of the Jadens plus Engelbert plus Cyrell seems pretty solid to me. Sakura at 70, even though she's still maintaining her original cost, she's just so strong. And then Cop's Lucio, that's like his trademark unit. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Lucio at 80. I mean, he's strong. That was the unit that I missed the most last season.
Yeah.
I could have had Lucio instead of Camilo and probably win the whole thing. But I ended up with Camilo. So that's it. Lucio is great. Like, he clean blades Lucio every single time in Friday Night Fights. I mean, we've seen Cup do it over and over again. The lighting peril is huge,
Yep.
and especially setting up that Elena and setting up her chains. Yeah, it's scary.
I just love the fact that he decided to go that route and pair it with Lucio Naya, then just go standard light evade with lock. I don't know. I say I'm excited, but I'm not excited to play him. I'm excited to watch him in the league with it. But yeah,
let me know that I'm not excited about playing Jesus with Elena and lock
yeah,
first round.
I get that.
Yeah.
All right. Also, the Mustadio pick for Willie. Props to him.
Absolutely on brand, right?
Yep, on brand. Speaking of on brand, for me, the Ibarra pick, other than Cloud, probably my most used unit of like any unit in the game. I know Turambar had mentioned in the other draft she might not be worth 100 value at this point. She might be more of a 90, but at this point, I was like looking at the Lightning units, and I knew I wanted Lightning the unit at 90 because I thought this late that was just really great value. And then I was looking at the other units on my team, and basically I thought I could go something like Queen to pair up with Titus, or I could go Ibarra. And I just felt like last season when I played, I was missing a really like big magic hitter. And like Queen can be built magic, but she's not a big magic hitter. You know what I mean? Like she can do magic damage, but Ibarra is going to hit a lot harder than Queen is magic wise. And I just felt like I wanted to have that on my team. So paired those two together. Couldn't go the whole draft without getting Lightning units. I mean, come on.
I think your Queen video is what kind of first drew me to your channel.
That was my very first video, actually. So
oh, fair enough. I remember seeing this video. I'm like, this guy's making Queen work. That's pretty cool. And I say hit subscribe, and the rest is history.
Yeah, Queen. It was funny because and I don't know. We'll get later in the draft, and I'll discuss my other picks and stuff. But Queen was a pick that even in the supplemental draft last season, I almost thought about taking even at 90, just because I felt like she just fills a different spot than all the other Lightning units. I don't know. She's just different, and I enjoy using her. But yeah, I couldn't turn down Ibarra. I still think she's good.
Oh, she's great. She's great. And she hits really, really hard. And one of the things that is really important on a format like this is you need to have like damage type variety. Like you cannot be all physical and expect to do well. So you do need that, and Ibarra gives you that. So I love that pick. And we see SurfTaco taking Ramada at 50 cost. I mean, she does really good damage. I've seen her do silly things before, and I know you like your pokey girls. So
yeah, I know. I'm sure
SurfTaco
wants to talk about this pick, but immediately this seemed like the perfect fit. I don't know, especially for just being able to run like Perrine and Whisper or something together. I don't know. I just feel like for 50 value, she's really strong. If you want to talk about that pick, Taco.
Yeah, I mean, I love Ramada. I love water. She's got her card with an astrologer card that gives her that extra special buff and that ability. But I've already been practicing her, and she has like 0 penetration of any kind, no defense pen. And so if she's going up against a tank with a lot of defense, she's tickling so far. But you can get her to get pretty fast. I feel like she has UR-esque damage potential, but for no penetration.
Sure.
And so, as a 50 though, I think she'll be able to hold her own. And yeah, I guess looking to obviously pair her either with Perrine or as a two waters, or with Shadowlinks to go full poke.
I'm not sure she would ever be in his position to use this, or you ever would. Maybe against like evasion or something. Does she have Steel Heart? Because she has Thief. Does she have Thief Sub, or am I just thinking Victoria?
No, she does. She for that agility passive, but I'm pretty sure she does not. I check all my units for Steel Heart, and I'll double check right now, but I don't think she does.
That's probably right.
Otherwise,
yeah.
that'd be pretty nice. No, it's just Steel Vision, Steel Time, good old mug.
Your old girl Phoebe getting taken in the 6th round here.
Well, another thing about Ramada though, you can actually build her to do well against magic. With she's got the resist magic and a magic barrier, and so she can definitely help out in that regard.
Does an astrologer also give magic?
Oh yeah,
What
Oh
are
yeah.
you?
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's
So
that's
I
certainly
like that
good.
flexibility, and with vacuum slash, she's got a guaranteed hit.
Hmm.
Nice.
What about Miranda though? That's the steal here.
Oh,
Oh,
Like
for
I
that's the
sure.
best
know.
thing.
That
Yeah.
value,
I
yeah.
don't know why I just thought people don't use Miranda anymore. I'll grab her later, seventh, eighth round, no big deal. Just like I did Glaciella the first season. Not the case.
Yeah, and I don't know if
No,
we've talked about his picks a lot here, but I mean, we'll discuss at the end. But Machen put together a really good team, in my opinion. It's very strong.
absolutely.
A
One
really
of the
good
best.
team and
Uh,
Zoma.
Yeah, Andy's a good player though. To like the one thing I will say as far as like creativity goes among teams last season, um, he was definitely one of the most creative players in terms of how he meshed like units together. So I'm curious to see what he'll do. But the Miranda pick is a steal. I think Taco probably loves the Valade pick here in round 6.
I
Hey,
mean,
one of
I'm
the one of
surprised
those
he
40
lasted this
costs.
long.
Yeah, one of those 40 costs, and Ballet can actually do a lot of things.
He's got full life. Yeah, he's got great buffs.
Yeah, and he's only going to get better with Dream Enhancement. That's another one of the first round of enhancements, and he gets a lot on his Master Ability 3 or whatever you want to call it. Winter Ravi at 70 cost here for Sand Rooster is also a great pick, I think. She's a natural 70 cost, so she wasn't played last season because she wasn't in the
Right.
pool last season. But I think if she had been, she would have been played. But 70 cost Winter Rabbit pulls a lot of damage,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like a cheaper Esther for ice. Tanky, very very tanky against Pierce and Misil
Mm-hmm.
specifically. And yeah, I'm excited to see what he does with her.
It's fascinating you say that because I will say I've spoken with Sand Rooster about his draft, and this is the one pick. Like everybody has their regret pick. This is apparently the pick he feels like was a
I talked
mistake.
to him.
So.
I think it's about something else though, and maybe some VC
Mm-hmm.
availability and whatnot. But that's
Yeah.
another thing that I wanted to talk with you all because we had I think last season we didn't have any job VCs available, did
Yep.
we?
Mm-hmm.
No.
And that's a thing that it was introduced to the game now. We have quite a few in global, still
But
not enough.
I
I
think
think,
we
Yeah.
actually had Halloween Lucia's card, certainly towards the end of the
towards the
season.
end, yes.
oh, towards the end, maybe yes. But we didn't draft it with them in mind, right?
Right.
So now it's a completely different game, right? Because were you guys looking at those synergies at all
I
while you were
was
putting your team together?
I wasn't because again I don't want to handicap myself by telling people what I have, but I have
Mm-hmm.
one maxed out job VC. I won't say which one that is, and then I have one more in my possession, and that's it. Like I don't have a lot of them, so
Just say you have them all, man. Just say you have them all. That's it. I have them all match.
that's why I
Don't
say
worry.
I won't say which ones. Never know which ones I got. So, but yeah, it's interesting with the like non-mono element role. It does kind of open things up there. Obviously, people who have all of them could potentially be an advantage, but that's also in the same sense like somebody who has all of the units also is an advantage because you get freedom to pick whatever you want. So it's always going to be part of it, unfortunately, but somehow it becomes like a problem or something. I'm sure we can discuss changes, but
Yeah,
I'm curious
and
to see how it works this
I
season.
don't think it'll be a problem. I don't think there's enough VCs available to make it really
Yeah.
matter as
Mm-hmm.
much. But the fact that we are doing rainbow teams, right, that definitely helps job VCs a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot more than it does on regular WoTV PvP, where you can just slap mono
Yeah.
elemental teams.
I think the big thing, at least, that you are allowed 2 of the same element allows you you can still use mono element VCs, especially like if
Yes.
you're like for example, if I'm playing Ibarra Lightning Severo or something, I'm probably still going to load up on a lot of lightning stuff because like at the end of the day,
For sure.
190 of my cost is put into those 2 units. But
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially if you have slime.
yeah,
You were smart enough to draft him.
yeah. If you're the genius who drafted Slime, then you're good to go. So, were there any other picks you guys want to go? Otherwise, I got round 7 up.
I just would note that Winter Ravi slaps at 70. I think she's great value.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she does. She does.
Cool. All right, round 7.
Love to see Ray Chess.
Mm-hmm.
My girl Victoria.
Unhindered Storm Reborn. Perfect Storm last season. Did grab Rain last year too, and grabbed him again this one. I do like that he's kind of pairing up his like warm triangle, if you want to call it that, of elements to like counter his counters. So I know he's a big wind player, but
What about Gilfay here? Regular Gilfay at cost 70.
Yep.
She's really bulky against physical, and I'm excited to see her.
So
Same.
slow.
Is she? I haven't played with her much, but I've seen her a couple of times in PvP.
No, I've always liked Killfish. She's obviously was a powerhouse when she came out, but yeah, she's on the slower side.
Yeah, she'll need some haste.
the Victoria value in
we'll
the 7th. I think that's a really
Oh,
The
yeah.
seventh round.
pick.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Cop did well
He's a real
the
value.
entire draft.
Yeah.
I think, aside from maybe one pick was, but I don't know. We'll get into it at the end of the draft. But I mean, he got a lot of value in a lot of his picks. But Victoria's a stealer in the 7th. I know SurfTaco put in so much work with her last season.
Oh, I loved her. But yeah, one of my things was I just decided that I didn't want to repick any unit. I just
Same.
wanted a completely different team, and so I was, otherwise I'd be picking up Victoria much sooner. But I was happy with my Lucia pick at round 7, being able to sneak away her. I think Turambar, would you get her like round 3, round 2?
Round 2, I think it was. Yeah, Lucia, I think at 90 cost I mentioned this, but I really do feel that she is 100 cost worth of power, especially against physical. And at 90 cost, should be great. I hope she is, and you're right, and we're both right.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This is another situation similar to Joker, where I do actually have Halloween Lucia, but again, she's 89. So it's like, I probably would have grabbed her a lot sooner too, to pair with Little Leela or something. But I mean, in the 7th, this is a steal. This is a unit I couldn't believe was lasting this long. I thought even at 90, she was going to be a round 1 or 2 kind of pick.
Yeah, this is one of those units, I guess, for whatever reason, I wasn't even like that interested in. But as I started getting all the other units I did want, and the fact that she was just still there, I'm like, I just have to take her.
Mm-hmm. The KSaun pick
and,
too.
Sand Rooster with Murmur. He's repeating, I think, that pick from last season.
Yep.
He put her to a lot of good work last season.
He did.
And yeah, at 40 cost, I think she's one of the better ones.
I agree. One thing I will shout out here, the KSaun pick, even though I think KSaun is a great unit, at 80, I think she's just really solid. We saw all the work she put in last season. This was kind of a goof on Willie's part. He told me that he thought KSaun was a tier 1 when he had picked her. So he basically used up a flex instead and didn't mean to. I will say, going through the draft, he gets a pretty good pick in the place of the tier 1. So I don't think he's too hurt by it. But that was kind of a goof on him. He thought he was taking a tier 1, not the flex. Because he tried to take somebody later. I don't remember who in his flex spot.
Gotcha.
My pick here, Moraga, I just had seen 70 cost units that I wanted. I wanted Yuna, which I got. I wanted Sakura, Engelbert, Whisper looked good. One I didn't even think about before the draft started was Moraga, and I saw him sitting out there, and I was like, a 70 cost tank would fit really well on my team, I felt. And ironically, I thought about taking him with KSaun, and KSaun went the pick before. So when Willie told me that he didn't realize that she wasn't tier 1, there was a part of me was like, hey, you can take it back, like make a different pick. Because I wanted her, but I was like, I can't, man. I gotta
power.
I know, I was like, I gotta follow the
Friends
rules.
with the guy that makes the rules.
Yep.
It's on record.
So, yeah, so I didn't do it. I did the right thing. I did think about that because I was like, man, KSaun Moraga sounds like it could be solid, but ended up taking Moraga, and then I can show you my next pick after. But any other picks we want to go over here? I like Ravi's, one of the few units at 60. But
have you completed the selection quest, Moraga and KSaun?
maybe. Do you think I ever?
Do you have a +1 helmet for Moraga?
I have his
Let
helmet.
me tell you.
I have his helmet. Whether it's a +1, I'll let you know later.
stuck at 13 for a while, so make sure to take care of that.
Yep. One thing I will say is I took a break, basically took a break from the game for about a month, and I was like logging in on a good chunk of days, but I have a lot of extra materials just sitting around. So like 120ing units and stuff like that has been like not a problem whatsoever for me, which has been nice. I have so many skip tickets and energy pots sitting around, which I feel like I didn't have for so long. But yeah, I felt good about the Moraga pick, and I'm hoping that I won't have a problem completing quest number 13. So
Well, good luck.
thank you. This turn though was, I will say, I'm okay with it now that the draft is over, but this is one of the turns that if I had a regret during the draft, it was probably this. I went Moraga Titus, so I took 2 tanks that were at different costs. I feel like they fill slightly different roles because their resistances are very different from each other. I mean, we talked about it, but Titus is basically a glass cannon to like slash damage, but his pierce and missile resist can get kind of crazy. And the cost here fits better with like Little Leela and stuff like that. The other unit I was thinking about here was Queen, which I thought about like the turn before because I thought Queen Lightning Titus sounded strong, but I really wanted Moraga because I didn't know who I would pair with Little Leela at this point if I didn't grab him other than like Yuna and going Yuna Titus or something. So I was basically between like 3 or 4 units here. I don't know if I would call it a regret, but I was pretty sad to see that Queen went to Sandrooster, and I knew he would probably be the only person that would take her. So
Yeah, I think that Quinn there was a good grab for Sandrooster after I looked at his final team.
for sure.
At 80 costs, I think it enables a lot of things. And I was mentioning, I think when we looked at the Jadens, that it would have, the only trouble you can have with that team really is map dependent or against the Celis player. Well, Queen takes care of Celis really good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's a good grab. But Titus at level at cost 50, I think he fills a good role for your team, especially with that leader, like you mentioned.
Yeah. And one thing I will say too is the way I positioned myself, knowing that I was going to have 2 picks like left, obviously after this, and they would be right back to back. I left my flex open, and then I left a tier 2 open specifically because my only tier 2s were a tank and a healer. And I felt like leaving my last 2 picks would allow me to take an 80 and a 70 that could potentially go well together. Who that would be, I wasn't sure yet. It just depended on like who fell to me. But my thought was like, well, regardless, I should be able to get 2 units that mesh well with the 70. And if there aren't, then at least I just have a flex open to take whatever. But
yeah, I think that's a good strategy. I think I left my flex to the very end too for similar reasons. Just to fill an empty spot over there. With your flex, that's good flexibility.
I blew my flex here, but I'm very happy with this pick. I love Summer Elsie. I was really worried she was going to be stolen from me. This is like on the heels of losing Miranda, and so I was very happy that I was able to get her.
Yeah.
If only the element lightning didn't exist, but
it's everywhere in this draft.
Oh my god.
Summer Elsie is solid, man.
She is.
It's lightning is meta, and there are powerful lightning teams, but obviously when you play arena and guild battle, you only see 3 lightning units at a time. And throughout this draft, I was just reminded of how many good lightning units there are.
Mm-hmm.
There's like freaking 12 of them now, and it's just between Cloud, Skahal, Lightning, Ibarra, Esther, Summer Helena. It's Resnick. It's scary.
Shoot cell. Yeah, I know. The list goes on.
And so it seems like every squad has, I think I counted, like of the 10 squads, 7 or 8 have good lightning units. And so I'm just over here sitting in my room full of water saying, this is fine.
Oh man, what about that Grace? I think it was picked and used last time. And I like her kid at 60 cost. it's a little bit tricky.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's still a good pick. This late in the draft.
I mean, I think she's
any healer with full life.
Yeah.
What else does she bring?
I think she has
healing
some
and full
good
life.
buffs. No, I
Yeah,
think
she might
some
have
good
good buffs.
buffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have more the merrier
her.
here.
Yep.
Yeah, I've always loved more the merrier.
I think more the merrier
yeah.
and Luell are both really solid here, 8th round. I
They're
think Luell's a
incredibly
beast
strong
for 80.
units. Yeah. Luell with her accuracy and her magic strike damage. She's really, really strong. And then more the merrier, kind of like the same thing for Win. A lot of accuracy, different damage types, and I mean, re-raise from the kid. I mean, what else? What else is to say there?
Yeah. McLeod too. I will go out to the next page, but another one of the few DPSs that actually hits hard. For especially like the fact that you're an MR DPS and you're worth the 60 tag, it tells you like how much he does.
Oh yeah.
So
he is what Camilo wishes he would be, and here we have him.
Yep.
The man is killed.
Yep. I like the Summer Helena pick by Sandrooster. Again, this is like the only lightning unit. Sorry, I don't have Renan. I have her at 89 also. I have like 7 or 8 really good units at 89 currently, so it feels really bad. But hey, next season I'll be.
By the way, Gumi, if you're hearing this, please give us another way to get shards for this unit.
Yes, please.
It's about time.
Yeah, the seasonal units, they need to be able to be added to like the hard quest list and stuff like that.
Oh yes.
Like there's no reason. It's not that many shards, like at a minimum. But I like the Frederica.
There's your.
Go ahead.
So there's your Camilo Turambar.
Yeah, I know. I see him right there. I'm about to modify my rankings right here. Camilo was drafted.
Automatic deduction.
Automatic deduction. And here, this is a pick that I wanted to talk to you, Taco. Halloween Frederica. I've been looking at her more and more for, due to the lightning meta that's around. And obviously you were mentioning with your water loaded team, an earth unit makes a lot of sense. But Frederica is very specifically an evasion unit. So I was curious to see what was your thought process there to take her.
I mean, at this point, I just knew that I had to do something. I had to have some earth option to kind of mitigate the damage from lightning. And I don't have Noctis. I don't have.
Oh, okay.
I don't have Halloween Raru, and I don't have that freaking TMR. And I did that Halloween step up this last time around, and hoping for either a Halloween Little Leela, don't have her, or Raru for his TMR, and of course I ended up with Frederica. And
hey, the same happened to me, exactly the same. So yeah.
And so I've never used her. I've come across her in arena a couple times, and she can slap. She's evade. I think this is why I was asking earlier about Skahal. He's bad against evade, right? I hear Cloud's bad against evade too, right?
Right.
And so I knew I needed some option. You can get her lightning resists pretty high. I think up to like 90, and so I guess I'm just counting on her to be my option, my go-to if my opponent has lots of lightning.
And even though it's not her main job, she is able to do the spear waifu sub job. She does have dragon sub, so
still on
you can throw on the armor piercer, the VC hunter. She can still armor pierce some people.
I mean, I knew I had to get some earth. My other option here was I was thinking Kane. Obviously to go with Lynx, to go with just at 70. I think I've always loved Kane, but the fact that he doesn't have a master ability 2, and obviously that's not on the horizon anytime soon. And I guess I just, I don't think he has much penetration either. I ended up not going with him, but we'll see. I kind of regret not having Kane, not as much as I regret not having Miranda, but we'll see if I can do anything with Halloween Fred. She's cute. I'll give her that.
One thing here, so well, two things to say. First, I apologize, Mr. Aloha Pineapple Pizza. He was the second person of our draft to kind of make a goof with one of his picks. He picked, or how exactly did that go? He picked Barrett, and then he didn't have.
He picked Barrett thinking he was
a tier 1.
Tier 1. He had a tier 1 left.
So, and he wanted to change it for Oron, but we didn't.
No, that's what he did. He picked Oron. But he wasn't allowed to pick Oron. And so he had to switch it to Barrett. Or is my even?
I think he took Barrett first. He would have had to. But I think he wanted to also take Oron and couldn't.
Oh,
because
I think it was
he
the
thought
last
he had
pick. You're right.
he thought he had the flex open and didn't because Barrett's a tier 2, not a tier 1. Basically, he did the same kind of thing that Willie did, but didn't realize it until a couple picks later. But so I'm hoping that he gets to put some work in with Barrett, and I'm hoping that he gets his boy Oron in the supplemental draft and at least can do some work with him later. Because spoiler alert, Oron did not get drafted, so he is still there for the future. I was
going to say that was probably for the best.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I had to stay consistent with the rules, and unfortunately, wasn't able to take him.
No, I love Barrett. I'm excited to see him.
Barrett's great.
Yeah,
I think Barrett has a need for sure, and he's also again one of the units that's going to get their 3 enhancements first. And I think they're going to give more buffs to Barrett in particular. Yeah. If I remember correctly, he was going to get like an exclusive weapon or something like that.
That would be cool.
So Barrett is going to get a huge power up and at 80 cost. And I think that's a good grab.
Ironically, yeah, that fits. One thing I was going to mention real quick too is Willie here, the Corpse Brigade, grabbing Dark Fina. The only reason he's even able to get Dark Fina in the 9th round is because he did the ketone goof, or else he wouldn't have even been able to get her. So just keeping in mind that he has Joker, so he can do Dark Fina Joker or Knight of Ruinstern Joker. I think both of those are like pretty solid, but
yeah, Dark Fina went really early in our handler draft, and I mean she is the best dark unit in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just overall. So seeing her go round 9 here is pretty surprising. But yeah,
I agree. She's very good. I think this is ironically one of the only other top tier like 100 costs that I could have taken personally. But I felt like I didn't know if it was worthwhile to do it unless I did go Mia. And I really just didn't. I didn't want to do Mia with one of my picks. I just really didn't want to go that route. So.
Well, you can see how it would have been looking at Dr. Dickhead's performance because he has Leela.
Yeah, if he goes nuts, then I know I made a mistake.
Yeah. Well, he does have Zazan.
Right, who's clearly better than Mia, to be fair. Yeah. I just see Mia, like, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Jesus, who has Mia, gets to put some work in with her. That would be sweet. I just see Zazan as such a better unit than Mia, that he's not just a throwaway. Like, he can actually get something done at 20, where Mia is like, hey, I'm doing this so that I can run my 200s.
Yeah, I agree. But then you got Garvo, who is the second best dark unit in the game. Obviously, no bias.
Obviously.
Garvo was on my list. I was tempted to get him every time. And he's obviously amazing.
I was interested in some of the other picks and stuff, but this was, again, like my strategy was I tried to leave room open for an 80 to 70 pairing. So that's what I ended up doing it. So I grabbed Garvel and I grabbed Kane. And so my thought process was like, Kane might not have an MA2, but I think he's all right for a 70 cost. I can run Garvel, Kane, Moraga or Garvel, Kane, Yuna. And I feel like those at least like present me another option. And I don't know. We'll see if they work out.
That's a strategy that I like, right? It's the 2 bulky DPS with the support, right? And Kane, he is not obviously as bulky as Garvel, but he does have courage. So he can live through things and give Yuna enough time to pick him back up with a heal. So yeah, I like those 2 picks.
And then remind me, Turambar, did Tifa go in your draft at all?
I don't think she did. So. No.
I thought Tifa at 80 is great value. I've always loved Tifa. She gets her dream right away.
Yeah.
She's got courage. She slaps. She's got great movement and speed. She was kind of always on my back radar as just a value pick. I obviously never picked her up. but I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see that she's going to be there.
Yeah,
Also excited to see Chunak.
Yeah. Yeah, he also went. I think late in our draft. Kunak was. If she might get picked in the redraft for our for round 5 or round 6.
It's going to be right
redraft,
around the
and,
time of the anniversary.
Exactly.
You're talking about the supplemental draft?
Yep.
The supplemental draft. Yeah, the supplemental draft. And yeah, I agree. At 80 cost, Tifa can put in some work. I wasn't in wind at all, and I think that the way that I look at things, I want my DPS to be supported by at least another unit of the same element in the composition most of the time.
I agree.
So I wasn't looking at her direction, but I agree. She's strong.
And with my last pick, I was just thinking, I was looking at Mia, thinking about that 20 costs, but obviously I went a different direction. A 60 cost just kind of opened up a few different compositional possibilities. I was kind of torn between her and Mariella, which I think went undrafted.
She didn't go. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's obviously an amazing magic tank. But the fact that I kind of already had Little Leela as a magic tank, already had Whisper as a kind of Swiss Army tank, I figured you can't go wrong with a time mage. And so went with Elshra.
I think Marielle went on the either second or third round in our draft.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And almost picked up Dario, who went undrafted.
One big one to me.
That's another one that surprised me. Yeah.
One huge one to me too, man. The final round getting Eliza at 90 seems crazy that she lasted that
insane.
long.
Yeah.
Like she was either the first or second round for Ram in the other draft.
And this is the pick. He didn't even want her. He wanted Oron.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Won.
Yeah,
we forced him to take Eliza.
Like, oh, if I have to take Eliza, sure. That's crazy.
Wow.
So
at least the same player that got Elia didn't get Eliza.
Yeah, thankfully. Which I think
I'm
Machen
gonna have to deal with that thing. Yeah.
And I think Machen looked at this because I was already done with my pick, so he shot me a message and was like, I think I probably should take Eliza, but I want to do something more fun. And I was like, fucking do it, man. And he didn't tell me who he was gonna take, and he took Zoma. I was like, oh, I love it.
I honestly, I think I have seen Zoma once in PvP. And he's just such a cool looking unit. Like he's insanely big for once. And he has some crazy mechanics. So I'm excited. He
looks so ridiculous on the battlefield. It's hilarious.
He really does.
No, I'm up against the Shoe Puffs first match of the season, and I was teasing Machen that it's a shame that Zoma is weak to both Pierce and Fist. It's a shame. No, but I'm excited to see what he does. Oh yeah, here we go. Full team.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's start looking at these. So, Black Sheep Knights, King Delita. Obviously, the flag bearer Glaciella is a beast, regardless. I don't know what you guys.
Yeah, she's a highlight here.
Agrius is a nice pick.
Yeah, Agrius is definitely another one. But one of the things that I was looking for was a 40 cost here.
Yep.
For Delita, and that's what we don't have, and that's kind of what we were talking about. 40 costs come as such a premium when you're trying to pair up your 100 and your 80 cost, and
he can still technically do it with Vadim,
right?
Yeah, he can. He definitely can. Vadim, it's a little bit like Mia, though. He does have Steel Heart, and I think his Steel Heart is enhanced. The enhancement might just be like an extra hydrant or something like that.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, if he had Valade at 40 costs, how good would that be? With Agrius, Valade, and Glassy. So that's one thing. And with Machery, Winter Machery there at 70 cost, he can definitely work that out. Maybe with Adler. Adler, it's a unit that honestly I have never used.
Yeah, I could see that being one of his stronger comps, though. Honestly, with Glaciella, Machery, Adler.
Yeah. Any comp with Glaciella is probably going to be what carries
He can put her together with Fina and original Helena.
Exactly. And I think that you do want to pull a little bit of hate out of her. So I think that and Vadim with King Mont there,
Mm-hmm.
that's another option. King Mont, also a unit that's getting a big upgrade with Dream Enhancement, and at
Yeah.
90 cost, I
Right.
think he is one of those tanks that might be worth it.
I agree.
Yeah, that is scary. Glaciella with Mont.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Bohemian Rhapsody. He originally was
my
going to
boy.
name his team Bear Force One because he had nothing but dudes for like the first 5 or 6 picks. I like Bohemian Rhapsody though because it was such a perfect combo of having like 5 guys to start, and then he grabbed Queen and then the Queen Mashri. So I was like, that's such a perfect combo. So well played on the name.
Well played, Stan Rooster.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this team is
I love this
loaded.
Team.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, the fact that he has the strategy of the 20 cost with 100 costers all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
The 100 costers, obviously they're all magic, right? So there is a weakness here.
This was that was his weakness last season too. If there was anything. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, but I think you saw it on the draft when we were looking at the first couple of rounds. The number of 100 costers that went off the board on those first couple of rounds, you just pushed him this direction, right? Because Astrid wasn't there, and Glaciella obviously wasn't there. So obviously it's a strong looking team, and specifically Wind and Lightning also have extra synergies thanks to Dark Ramu as a VC, and but I think his lower cost options are also good, right? He does have the Queen and the Engelbert and the Ravies, the Cyrell. It's not a just double 100 cost and 20 team for me.
Yeah, this team is nuts. Like the more and more I look at it, I mean, there's just so many good comps you can throw together. Obviously, Double Jaden Zazan's great. Helena Queen Murmur is really, really solid. Jaden Engelbert Cyrell, either Jaden Engelbert Cyrell is really solid. You could even throw the 3 tier 2 URs in. I know that's like a rainbow thing, but like all 3 of those units are really good for their cost in general. So
they are.
I don't know. He's got a lot of options here.
Yeah, I plan on losing to Sand Rooster match 3.
And I doubt he gets a ton of run out of Queen Mashri, but there's so much lightning in our like division that just having that there, man, is just so good.
And that's another thing, right? On the draft league, we all know each other's rosters. They are not a secret.
Mm-hmm.
So just having the option to have Queen Mashri as your flex unit, I mean, it's hard for you to go full on lightning if you know that a Queen Mashri can come in and wipe you.
For sure.
Because Queen Mashri is an earth unit that will wipe a lightning comp. Like, no problem. So yeah, I like it.
I agree.
It's a scary comp.
Sorry if you can hear my dog barking in the background.
Oh, I thought that was Halloween Little Lila.
That could be. All right. Third up here, we got Unhindered, Storm Reborn.
Mm-hmm.
He very much requested the red coloring with the sorrow. I think this looks pretty sick. I like the theme.
It looks sick, yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna be curious to see who he's thinking of pairing up here. Kind of similar to what we said when we were talking about Jebaw's team. The only thing I will say is like how he exactly fits certain units together cost wise. But I think he has a lot of nice like picks. I don't know. I think if he had a 50 that was really, really good, I would like this team even more. But I think he's got.
I'm
some
looking
good
at
options.
How do you get more the merrier in Halloween Little Lila together? You can't use Sosha. You'd have to use a 30 Mish.
You got to go Mish, yeah.
You leave 20 costs on the table.
Absolutely. That's the thing that I think was missing from this team. A good 50 cost, and honestly, good 50 costs were at a premium. There weren't that many.
Right.
So you had to prioritize them. And I think lacking that, it's hurting his options a little bit. He does have really strong units. I mean, obviously Esther, it's a monster. Starro is really, really good. More the merrier, and Little Lila are just beasts for win. And then Phoebe obviously is really great. But Phoebe, if she had retained her 40 cost,
right,
or even going to 50,
if Phoebe had 40, I would love this team.
Amazing. But at 60 cost, it's going to be hard to pair because you need to make some big, strong sacrifices in order to make it work. So I'm curious. I'm curious to see how it works. I think that Tifa, Little Lila, and Phoebe might be a strong option. I know Tifa, you can build her to be tanky
Yeah.
and to pull a little bit of hate with bow tie or VCs and whatnot. And obviously, you can just tune Little Lila to be DPS. She doesn't have to be the support of your team if you have Phoebe in there.
Yep.
So I think that's a good option. But yeah, curious to see how he makes it work without a 50 con.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing holding this team back personally. I like a lot of what he did, and I don't know like how many 50s are left. If there's like a good one, I don't know about a good one, but like one that would kind of work that he could grab in supplemental, I'd be curious down the road. But otherwise, I love the fact that I think some of these units are really solid, and he did like the warm triangle of like counter elements, right? Like lightning beats water, which beats fire, which beats ice, which beats wind. I like the whole thing there. So he can't just have another team look at him and say, "Oh, I'll bring this element to counter you." So I like that style of it, but.
I'm pretty sure Unhindered did the same thing last season. He also had.
I think the only thing is
he didn't. Fire.
He didn't have lightning. Was the only thing. He had just wind, fire. So
yeah, I was free to run water into him.
Yep. So that on that regard, I do like the fact that he grabbed like Esther, Fred, or something. So
yeah.
So for this team, I can't. I think it's powerful. I think it's very powerful. I don't know what I'm missing here. With you can run Sylvie, Slime, any one of those 70 cost units, swap in Locke, throw in Ashes instead. I think this team has a lot of potential.
Oh, this team is really good. I really like how Old Smoked Up did it here with the light and water theme with its strong flex options at the low tier. With Mond,
reminds me of my team last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit, right? I think he might just be missing the time mage, but other than that, I mean, he has Slime as a great support, and he could just run Ash's, Rage's Slime, or Sylvie, Sakura Slime, any number of options here. Which I think this team is going to be doing super well. Like the only thing that might not be great here is the tank spot. Mostly honest, at 60, it's a little bit taxing, right? Like you cannot run it with your good 170s. So he'll have to make some sacrifices there.
Right.
But other than that, I like it. Well, and obviously other than Camilo, which I'm never going to endorse.
Yeah. Even then, though, I think he did a nice job with his tier 3s. Obviously, Slime is just great. Grabbing Surges, regardless of whether Surges is good, just having a 30, I think is so smart based on the other units he has. He has a 100 and a 90 of water, has a 190
Yeah, now I can run Sylvie and Locke together.
And then the Mont can, I'm curious to see how much he brings it out, but could fit with, Locke Sakura or Chunak Raychez, or, he can do his 2 of an element like every time pretty freely. He can work that around a lot depending on how he wants to do it.
Right.
And it's just a good option to have in your back pocket when you're running, when you have water, to be able to have that earth option.
I'm going to give him a lot of credit too, because he may or may not have been intoxicated for a period of this draft.
You could say he was all smoked up.
He was something.
Smoked up.
Properly, well done.
Living up to his handle.
Making picks in the wrong channels.
I love it though. Yeah, the team's good. Team's good.
Pineapple pizza.
Mr. Aloha. I think this team would be top tier if it had Oron. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, that's a low blow. But I do like the team.
Let me speak to Aloha. He's I guess he was formerly in my guild. I guess we're all under the dead umbrella. He loves Valade. He loves ice. And he was, he picked Velis right out the gate. He told me that to him, Velis, obviously, while a healer, he's not going to be running Velis as a healer.
Right.
Velis is going to be his DPS. He says his Velis smacks the pineapple off his opponent's pizza, and he's, I think this is a potentially strong comp. Valade is, I think, in my opinion, the second best 40 out there, with Naya taking tops. And even though we forced him to take Eliza's amazingly strong. Celeste amazingly strong. Vel's amazingly strong. I love Barrett as like a niche pick. He's got his little confusion alt. Love Glaciella and Original Moore. It's all on him to make this comp fly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got some really nice options on it. I am excited to see how he uses Velas. I'm glad that if he took him early, he's going to get a run out of him, because I know that was one thing. It's like Turambar took him first. I'm curious if Turambar's team wasn't so damn good last season, maybe he would have used Velas more. You know what I mean? Like maybe part of it was just that as the rest of his squad was just so good. Why would he use Velas?
I think we can count on Aloha using Velas.
Sweet.
That's good info for his opponents right there.
or he paid me to tell you that.
I'm not gonna be playing him right now, so maybe in the playoff. But Celis, that's just one of those units.
Yep.
That it will shut people down, and this is the team that when Sand Roosters and Aloha play, it's gonna be a really interesting mind game, right? Is Sand Rooster going to go, thinking that Celis is gonna be out there and as such gonna go with Queen? Or is he gonna call Aloha's bluff and maybe just run his double Jadens or something like that? It's gonna be really fun to see that.
Yeah, that'll be a good matchup. All right, we got Shoe Puff Sweetheart.
There we go.
Got the Zoma front and center. That was a hard unit to fit on this page too. I was like, I can't put him like too much farther over to the right too, because I'm gonna have my face cam on the bottom right when I'm filming or whatever. I was like, this guy takes up a lot of space even on here. But I will show our rankings later. But man, I personally love this team. I think it is bananas. I have this one as one of my top 3. Yeah,
for sure.
He has so many good options here. I just think Elias Snow Uni looks really, really good to me. I think Luell at 80 is just like tremendous value. I know he put a lot of work in with Curry last time. Being able to run Elia Curry Ravies looks scary to me. I don't know. I like it a lot.
Yeah, he's my first season. My first match of the season. Looking forward to it. Should be fun. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck. Yeah,
let's see if Shadow Lynx's missile resistance will hold up.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to build her up. It's the options he has, and aside from Zoma, which I don't really know, right? But having Snow as a tank opens you to do a lot of different things, and with Luell at 80 cost, with Miranda at 70 cost, with that Ravi at 60 cost, they really, again, the only thing that I can take against this team is the lack of a 50 coster. That would open more options to him. But Uni at 30, I think he's one of the better 30 cost units and does some cool things with the range and all that stuff. But Oberon and Alaya, really strong 100 costers. Snow, one of the better tanks. Luell, one of the better 80 costers. Miranda might be the best 70 coster out there.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Sorry. And Ravi is one of the 60 costers, like one of the few 60 costers that I thought was worth it.
I agree.
Ravis and Curry, actually, both of them. So yeah, I really like this team. Ildira, Valentine's Day, Ildira, obviously, is there a little bit, I think, to scare off wind. But sorry, not wind, ice.
Yep.
But I don't really know how.
But why does he need to scare off ice? He doesn't have any wind.
I don't know. I was trying to find for an explanation here.
The one thing
there is the pick that it kind of is curious to me how that would work out.
Yeah, if there was anything,
it's always good to have one evade option.
Yes, and if there was,
that might be it.
I was gonna say if there's anything that feels out of place, it would be her. But again, I said like last split, this guy found really creative ways to use units. Like he literally had a evade with Curry team, like where like Curry was dodging hits, and I was like, what the hell?
Ravi is evading. There you go.
So this doesn't come off as the evasion team, but he has an angle he can run that. So
absolutely.
Bring your accuracy runes.
Yeah, what was it? It was last season. It wasn't Machen running Ravi. Who was running Ravi that had the perfect match where they charmed my Victoria and didn't
Jebba.
take a single hit? Oh
Jeba.
It was
God.
Jebba. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because his Ravi's ran me over week 1. He hit so many stuns. That's
All
painful.
right, bottom tier
Yeah,
team next.
clear bottom tier. Yeah, we don't need to talk about this one. No.
Can you picture just
Incredible team,
Starlight
incredible player.
Elena
This is so
with
scary.
Reflect,
Yeah.
chilling with Lucio?
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't I don't love facing it is what I mean, but I
And it is interesting to note how Starlight Elena's card, just sitting there with that high strike resist forever, useless, is suddenly kind of getting like silently buffed right now.
yeah.
As fisting is kind of getting into the scene, and I think that'll bring Elena, because she's never been in the forefront. I think that'll bring her into the forefront a little more, as having a strike resist option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before, but I think this is my pick for the best team on the Rundall division.
Yeah, it's up there.
Mm-hmm.
Cup having the option to run Elena, Lucio, and Naya just seems stupid strong. And the slash chains is basically what Cup has been known for.
Yep.
On Friday Night Fights over there at Orange Ace channel.
Yeah.
He can take that to the very, very, to the up to the top basically. He's gonna time those chains perfectly. Lucio with the lighting pearls, Starlight Elena doing what she does, and then having the options to run just lightning with Skahal, which is the shiny new toy.
Yep.
And then having Victoria MacLeod
Yes.
on the bottom end with damage that far exceeds their cost.
Yeah.
And
Skahal can
it's
just be
insane,
time
man. I don't
maging
know
him.
how he made it.
Yep.
And then Ildira at 80 cost, just chilling out there. Ildira is still pretty good, and she adds more to the CT manipulation that Cobb loves to use.
Yeah, he's great at using those kind of techniques and stuff. And I think this team is fantastic. If I'm searching for a weakness, he doesn't really have a tank. Like, that's all, I guess, like a true tank.
Yeah. And I think
if there's any weakness, that'd be the only thing. And the only thing I would say about that is, again, I think my personal opinion is that Cloud works a lot better with one, but he's got so many good options. I don't know. We'll see.
So yeah, you'll be dead before it even becomes a concern.
Right. Yeah.
That's the thing, right? And
just bum rush you, and you're dead. You get one hit off of him, he's too fast, and it's over.
It might be a conscious decision, right? That one of the things that has been discussed in the community lately is how far tanks have fallen, right? Because there's so much penetration, there's so many things that are working against them today. And one of the few tanks that is kind of like a couple of tanks that are, outside of that are Snow and Celis, because of what they bring in terms of damage and magic nullification. But we still don't have, Alphonse that's going to come in with the FMA collab. So other than those two, tanks are really on the down low right now, and Cobb might just be seeing that and trying to take advantage of it.
Yeah. It's a good looking team. It's scary. All right, we can skip this one.
The meme team. All girls.
Yep.
Focused around my new girl, Perrine.
Perrine.
Yeah, go for it, man.
I've got a few. I counted like Turambar. I got 11 different teams I can run. Lots of different options. Obviously, there's a Perrine team, a Shadowlings team. I can disperse them with either, Whisper, Little Leela, with Ramada. And obviously I went heavy water and dark. I didn't even pick up a different element till I think the very last two picks, Frederica and then Elshra. Got my time mages in there for some shenanigans. It'll be curious. I think my best team will just be slapping re-raise on Perrine, hasting her, and trying to bum rush people depending on the map. But I'm If I had to pick between my season 1 team and season 2, I'd probably pick season 1.
That's pretty easy to say when you won the whole thing last season. So I think it's a good
No,
looking team, though. I don't think it's like insanely busted, but it's definitely not a bad team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll be struggling until Perrine and Aerith get their 140, and then hopefully I'll pick up a nice stride for that second half of the season. But I'll be surprised if I'm not just middle of the pack. I'll be very happy if I finish top 4.
We'll see, man.
I mean, I like your team, man. I really do. I think that it is definitely not as explosive as your team last season. But Perrine, I mean, she is the newest 100 cost unit in the game, and we've seen Gumi do this over and over again. Yeah. She is going to be strong.
Yep.
Like really, really strong. And
counterpoint, Shadowlinks.
Well, that's global exclusive. That doesn't count.
Usually those are supposed to be even better. Look at Starlight Elena.
It used to be like that, but
yeah, I know.
I don't know what's happened lately. Hiroki needs to pick up his game there.
No, but, yeah, I got my Perrine at 115, and she's a tanky girl, and she's got her little self heal. And I'm still working on my Aerith AI to get her to actually, heal and do things and not just stay back and buff herself. But it's
you need to choose Aerith. Yeah, you need to choose what you do on any game. Yeah.
I just discovered that if you put her on sub time mage, she will not use re-raise. Both haste and quicken take precedence over re-raise.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which fuck me, I did not know that.
That is true. Yeah, you really do need to choose if you're gonna have her on time mage support or in barrier re-raise mode for any game fight. And so you're gonna have to play with her a little bit to figure her out.
She's crazy to me that re-raise is not her number one.
She's tricky to use, but I still think she brings a lot. I don't know. I still think it's a good
think
pick.
About Mary Moore. Mary Moore is the same thing. If you have her on time mage sub, she is going to haste before she gets her own re-raise even.
That's crazy.
So time mage just have the highest priority, I think.
Yeah, that's why Sadly, I guess he doesn't have time mage sub. His re-raise is always his first ability.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward. My girls will show up. I'll see what I can do.
I have faith in you as a player at the minimum, and I think the team is at least
you'll
solid.
Get it done.
So I think you'll be fine, personally.
There's so much lightning out there. This
team cracks me up because literally Willie, like, all he did was just like, I'm gonna draft FFT units and then I'll grab dark units when they're there. I actually don't think this team's that bad. And part of the reason I think is just looking at Joker sitting at 90. The fact that he has a 30 on his roster, I'm overrating it, but Dark Fina Joker or Stern Joker just, to me, bring a lot. Joker does so much to make the rest of his teammates tankier. I think like Turambar put a showcase on of that all season last year, where, he didn't have a tank, but they all just seemed to take so many hits.
I didn't need one because they were all tanks.
Right.
See?
Like having an AoE protect and just having some good like TMR options, you can get so bulky.
You can go Joker, Joker delete a Gaff.
Yeah,
it's also a slapping team. It's got good amount of Earth to deal with all the lightning out there. Yeah, I think this is a quiet sneaker powerhouse team.
This is one of the teams that I had the toughest time ranking because I felt like his strongest team might actually be like pretty high up there, but maybe doesn't have like 10 different team options, if that makes sense. Like,
that's one of the things, yeah. And Balo, that's a wild card to me because he doesn't have a 40 cost. So if he did wanted to run like evade, right? Because he has Stern, he has Ketone. Those are solid evade options. But he doesn't have a 40 cost, so he would have to play them with Balo. I don't know if Balo does enough.
Balo can evade.
Oh, he's deadly slow.
Yeah.
He's super slow and his luck is crazy.
I don't know. Yeah, well, he's a lucky boy.
Yeah. Can he run Keyblade?
Yeah. He should be able.
I would imagine he does, right?
He should be able to. I'm not sure if he equips armors or not.
I'll probably have to take a look at that because I faced Willie in week 1, so I'm definitely going to look to see what I'm looking at for week 1.
Do your
so,
homework.
Yep.
But yeah, that fantasy tactics theme there with the 80s and the 70s. I mean, did he pick all of the finals? No,
He
with the
didn't get
exception of
Agrius.
Agrius, yeah.
Yeah, well, that was
Just confirm. Balo can wear armor.
Nice.
Yep, he can.
Yep.
I just respect.
Yeah, I just respect that he stayed true to himself with this team. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
I think it's cool.
And Willie's also a really good player.
He is a good player. Yep.
Yep.
For sure. All right, worst team in the division right here. So we can go over this one.
Bottom tier.
Yep, bottom tier for sure. I mean, you know, I talked through each pick as I made it throughout the draft of kind of like my logic behind everything. I feel pretty okay with how it ended up. I don't think my team's like top tier, but I definitely don't think it's bottom. I like it better than I liked my season 1 draft. I'll say that. I think having options like Little Leela, Shadowlynx Yuna, or Little Leela, Shadowlynx Moraga seems solid. I think the Garvo Kane plus insert 70 seems decent. I'm curious to see. I think the biggest question mark for me personally on how it'll actually operate, because I haven't gotten to test much, is like, how does Severo actually feel when I play him? Because I really have a lot of confidence in Ibarra and Lightning to put out a shitload of damage. However, I don't know. We'll see what Severo looks like. That's my biggest thing. Otherwise, I like how I did the draft for the most part. But we'll see if that early Severo pick is actually nearly as good as I think it is on paper.
I ranked you, I think in my rank, I ranked you higher than me. I like a lot of what you've got, a lot of options. Ibarra and Lightning is going to be wicked powerful. Love Shadowlynx is at 50. She's such a steal. It's too bad you can't run Bull, Shadowlynx, and Kane. That would be an amazing team. But the fact that you can slot in Yuna, Moraga as your tank, you got Garvel. If you don't do well, that's on you.
That's fair.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yep.
No, man. I think your team is right there with the rest. I think you can definitely compete. You have really strong, solid options in 2 of the most, the strongest elements in a vacuum, right? With Dark and Lightning. Little Lila, the Bolt, obviously top tier unit. Ibarra and Lightning, great damage dealers, and you can pair them up with Severo if you really want to. You also have an evade, possibility there with Shadowlynx and Little Lila the Bolt. She can be really damn evadey.
Mm-hmm.
Like really evadey. Obviously not at the level of Stern in Dark, but with her bulk, with courage, and with all the damage she brings, she is kind of unfair in regards to how evaded she can get. So, Little the Ball, Shadowlynx, and Moraga, for example, or Yuna, would be a comp that I would be looking at too if I were you.
Yeah, I think that was basically the first 3-man comp that I think I was able to form was Leela, Shadowlynx, Yuna, and then I took Moraga for a similar reason. I feel like Shadowlynx feels like one of the few units that, as a damage dealer, can function in the like 50-60 cost tier, and the fact that she can be really dodgy feels good. So
she's still one of the dodgiest units in the game to this day. So
last season, yeah, for sure. Last season I only got 2 series wins. I'm hoping to go more than that. So that's
I'll take the over.
Thank you. So let's get into some predictions that we have just to wrap this video up. All right, so for the Rundall division predictions, anybody want to go first here? Or?
No, lots of similarities here. I can't believe you put yourself last, KSaun.
That was kind of a meme, I'm not gonna lie. But just because I ranked myself so high last time and I felt like I looked stupid because I ended up 8th, I was like, I'm just gonna put myself last. If you set your expectations low, you can't be disappointed. So it is interesting how we all have the same top 3, just with some minor variations. All Bohemian at 3rd. Everyone has B 4 or 5. What is where do we differ the most? I guess with Gumi guy, that 3 to 6. Hard team to rank. I felt like the Gumi gods. And not memeing. if I was actually ranking my own team, I think it falls somewhere between 4 and 7. I just didn't know where. But I just felt like putting myself last. So I don't. This was tough again. And the Corpse Brigade was a really hard team to rank. I ranked him higher than you guys did, but I think that's me looking at what I think his strongest 3-man team is. I think is really good, where he might not have the flexibility of some other teams.
Like I have him as my last pick, but like it just like he kind of like I didn't put him there. He just kind of ended up there, and he could like all those last 3-4 teams, even up to Pineapple Pizza, could kind of be shifted around. I gave Pineapple Pizza a little extra oomph because he's my boy Aloha. I really hope he even goes higher than that. I noticed you guys definitely have him lower than I do, but you know, Velas, Celis, we'll see. It sounds nice on the tongue for sure.
It does.
It does, and after talking with you guys, reviewing this, I think Pineapple Pizza probably can end up higher. Yeah, looking at how he's going to run it, and again, the player, right? I did not have that in consideration, even though I know Cop is a really good player, and his first is not because of that. I think it's just his roster is that good, right? And for me, Pineapple Pizza's roster looked a little bit more difficult to put together, but I definitely know that Mr. Aloha is going to be able to get the most out of that team. So I can definitely see those spots shifting around as the season goes along.
And just to reiterate, like this is like 5-10 minutes of for both divisions to top.
Yes.
Yeah, we
just
kind of very quickly were like, all right, rank 1 through 10, go for it. Yeah.
And it's just like there's not much crazy thought or in-depth analysis going into this. It's just like you got to rank it somehow, and then this is how it comes out.
Yeah, I was like, if I wanted to realistically like try to do this to the best of my ability, I would have to look at the 9 maps, who plays who each week. Okay,
yeah,
who do I favor each week? And this list probably looks way different if I actually did that. So the one team I'll shout out to, they're pretty high on my list, and I might even be too low. Bohemian Rhapsody. When we were looking over those team sheets, I looked at that again. I don't know, man. Sand Roosters team is kind of nuts. I could see them being a 1 or 2 in place of one of those 2 teams, but
I would not be surprised to see a Sand Rooster end up first, to be honest. Like he has tools, and he's a really, really good player.
He is. Yeah.
So definitely, I mean, any of those, for me, any of those 3 first teams really have the option to end up at first.
Yep.
Both Cop and Sand Rooster have incredibly strong teams, and Shupov, you mentioned, he has a team very much in kind of like in sync to what he had last season. And I know he's a great player too, very, very creative with his comps. So it's going to be fun to see.
As much as I said in the other division, I tried to not to put the player into it. I think I might have taken that into a little account too for him. And I mean, obviously, like if I took it in even more into account, maybe Cop is number 1. But yeah, it's tricky. And for me, the tier, like the last division, how I said is the top 2 teams. I think for me, it's the top 3. And then I think everybody else, it's really hard to separate, but that's just my opinion.
You're saying you could have put me lower is what you're saying.
Yeah, I could have put you at 10 or something if I wanted. I should have put myself at 9 and put SurfTaco at 10. That would have been the best kind of me.
Wow. I hope this does prove as foreshadowing and you do end up 10, you bastard.
It's possible. We'll see.
I put you at 4. You better do well.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the vote of confidence. If I was actually putting myself somewhere, it'd probably be like 5. If I had to actually guess. So
there you go.
But
that has nothing to do with the fact that you put this whole tournament together and I felt bad about your season 1.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. As you said, this is my redemption arc.
Indeed.
All right. I think that pretty much wraps it up.
It's been a pleasure, gentlemen.
Thank you guys so much for hopping on here with me. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
For sure.
No, thank you for giving us the opportunity here.
Absolutely.
For anyone still listening to this amazingly long video, thank you.
Thank you.
Potentially 2 amazingly long videos.
Potentially.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. And for anybody else who ever wants to be on a draft video with me, just all you have to do is place in the top 2 of the league, and then you can just hop right on here with me. So
easy peasy.
Yep.
We did it.
Well, guys, that wraps up our Rundall Division draft. If you haven't watched the Heinler one already, I highly encourage you to do so right now. This has been a great time. I really enjoyed SurfTaco and Turambar hopping on with me. I hope you guys did too, being able to hear some insight from a couple of other really, really good players. I'm excited for all the new players that we have in the league. I know it's going to be a great time this season. I'm excited for the games to kick off. Just so you guys know, Season 1 video should be coming somewhere around February 15th or 16th. It should be just right around there. Our week 1 starts this Wednesday on the 8th, and I normally give players about a week to get their matches in. So I hope you guys look forward to it. February 15th, 16th, somewhere around there. Week 1 should be out. It should be an absolute blast. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.